Finally, we have reached the last member of the Fellowship, Frodo Baggins. As always, there is a PDF in the description with the character sheet if you would like to see that. I've made the character to level 11, but you can easily scale it up or down to suit your adventure. The aspect of Frodo I wanted to focus on more than anything is his stealth ability. I think that he, out of all the hobbits, is the character who showcases the best skill at sneaking, and not just through his invisibility. Frodo's race will be Halfling, giving all the usual benefits, and for sub-race, we will be taking Lightfoot Halfling, to improve the character's ability to pass undetected. For Frodo's class, I considered Warlock and Bard, but didn't think they felt right, and almost put some fighter levels in there, but I think Frodo is actually the least capable in combat of the four hobbits, frequently having to be saved by Aragorn or Sam. So in the end, I made Frodo a pure rogue. As a rogue, we get a lot of skill choices, as well as some expertise features, which I will be covering later on. To start with, we get the ability Sneak Attack, which allows us to do additional damage when we have advantage against an enemy or when they are distracted. Then we have Cunning Action, which allows us to take an additional action each turn. This action can be either dash, disengage, or hide. Next is Uncanny Dodge, giving us the ability to half incoming damage with our reaction if we can see the target, and Evasion, which allows us to take reduced damage from things that we use dexterity saving throws against, like breath attacks. The final main feature will be Reliable Talent, which is used whenever an ability check is made using our proficiency bonus, and it allows a roll of 9 or lower to be treated as a 10. For Frodo's roguish archetype, I didn't think Thief or Assassin fit particularly well, so instead I've gone for Arcane Trickster, mainly due to the spells helping to represent the Ring of Power. As an Arcane Trickster, we gain some spells, which I'll cover later on, as well as improvements to Mage Hand, allowing it to be used to do things like pick locks or pockets. We also gain Magical Ambush, which gives a creature disadvantage on any saving throws against our spells, if we are hidden when we cast them. For starting equipment, we'll be using the Rogue options and taking short swords along with an Explorer's Pack. Normally I end the video with a homebrew ability, but in the case of Frodo, I've just given him a set of homebrew items, so I'll cover them here as well. First of all is Sting, which will have the same base stats as a short sword, as well as the ability Elvish Blade, which causes the blade to glow blue when any goblinoid or orc creatures are within a 100-foot area of the blade. The next item is the Cloak of Lothlorien, which will function the same as it has for all of the other hobbits, providing a +5 to stealth when not moving. Then we have the Light of Elendil, which functions in the same way as the cleric ability Turn Undead, only it works on any evil creatures. It can only be used once per long rest though. Now we have the Mithril Shirt, which has an armor class of 14 and is treated as light armor. But also, any non-magical attacks made with slashing or piercing weapons do half damage and are considered to be bludgeoning attacks instead. In base Dungeons & Dragons, there isn't much difference between slashing, piercing and bludgeoning damage, but it's worth stating the change anyway. Also, I plan on making a video in future with some of my homebrew weapon and armour mechanics which will hopefully make this better to use. The idea I have here is that the armour is impenetrable, but the force of bludgeoning attacks will still go through, much like with heavier armour in real life. I think this reflects the situation with the cave troll in Moria where Frodo is stabbed, because we can see that even though the armour saves him, he still feels the impact of the spear. Finally, we have the One Ring, which can be worn to give the character invisibility. However, the effect doesn't work on Sauron or Nazgul, and if you're playing in a game that doesn't feature those things, you could swap this for something like demons or fiends. If the ring is ever worn for more than 5 minutes at a time, the character must make a wisdom saving throw with a difficulty class of 16, or succumb to the will of Sauron. If they fail, they become lawful evil and will follow the instructions given to them by Sauron. My idea here is that if a player is corrupted, the Dungeon Master can send them some instructions for what they would be commanded to do. Now for spells, we get some selections from the wizard spell list. Most of the options had to be from the illusion or enchantment schools, so the choices were a bit limited. First, we get 4 cantrips, for which I took Mage Hand, Mending, Message, and Minor Illusion. Then the first level spells, Comprehend Languages, Detect Magic, Disguise Self, and Silent Image, as well as the second level spells, Blur, Invisibility, Mirror Image, and Suggestion. For ability scores, we don't have to worry about any prerequisites because we haven't used any multiclassing, so just make Dexterity and Intelligence a priority for combat and spellcasting. Then Constitution and Wisdom for defense, and finally Charisma and Strength won't be very important. The choice of background was quite straightforward. Frodo is a wealthy hobbit from Bag End, which lines up well with Noble. The personality choices I made are on screen, and I will cover the skills we get later on. We also need to pick an alignment, and I think Lawful Good fits well, although this is something you may want to change depending on how corrupted by the ring your Frodo is. For skills, we get History and Persuasion from the Noble background, as well as 4 from the Rogue class, for which I took Insight, Perception, Sleight of Hand, and Stealth. Then we also get 4 skills that we can gain expertise in. For these I recommend History, Perception, Sleight of Hand, and Stealth. Finally, by level 11 we will have gained 3 ability score increases. For feat options, Skulker is a good choice, as is Lucky, but using these to just improve your abilities is what I would probably do, focusing on Dexterity and Intelligence. So that's the final member of the Fellowship done. As always, there's a link in the description to a playlist of the other characters in the Fellowship, so be sure to take a look if you want to see more.